Hello everyone, welcome to BayernNow, the ultimate Bayern Munich fan channel. The streak is over, boys. Union Berlin 2, Bayern Munich 2. What a tough game. What a tough game. It was an early kickoff, so you know what that means for me. I slept through it because I could go back and watch the replay with no spoilers because the night before I turn off every alert on my phone and I can skip through corners, except in this game, every time I skipped forward 10 seconds, we conceded, it felt like. Whether it was an offside goal or a goal where Neuer, oh my gosh, Neuer should have saved that. It's so funny because both goals they scored came from moments where I skipped ahead, and I'm just seeing us concede. Neuer should have saved that 100%, but he put in a good performance against PSG, so who cares? Yeah, what a game. Luis Diaz, told you guys, this guy's going to excite us but frustrate us at the same time. I think in the space of 5 minutes, he did both. Scored one of the best goals, I think, in his goal catalog. What a freaking strike. He received the ball from Stanisic, and then he slide tackled to control it because it was a bad pass with bad weight from Stanisic, and then he scooped it past the defender, and then I'm thinking he's going to cross, and bang, it goes in. Just a great strike, great finish. The goalkeeper wasn't expecting that. He thought it was going to be a cross too, but it was just a snappy shot. Great goal from Diaz, and then like 30 seconds later, from kickoff, something happens, and then we get the ball at some point, and then Kane with a magnificent pass to Diaz. He's 1v1 versus the goalkeeper, and he completely misses the goal. That's Luis Diaz for you. Cartel Neymar in some moments, and Leroy Sané in others. He's the Colombian Sané sometimes. But look, Diaz did all he could. He got us back into the game, and it was up to his teammates to do the rest. And today just wasn't our day. Union Berlin came in with immense physicality. It's interesting because I had this weird feeling about this game, like I wasn't fully sure how badly we would have to compete physically to outmatch Union. And guess what? It was their physicality and their intensity that got them that draw. I guess to beat Bayern, Union came up with the perfect blueprint. Defend flawlessly for 90 minutes, or for a majority of the game. Pray Bayern aren't on their A game, because even if you defend flawlessly, we'll create so many chances, eventually some of them are going to go in. And even still, you need to score wonder goals and hope that our defense makes mistakes, that our goalkeeper spills a shot he should have saved. I posted this on X. I said, we need to lose soon, or draw, because I don't want our first draw or loss of the season being like some massive important game. And it's a perfect time to lose or draw. I mean, it's a momentum crusher, but the international break is coming up. This gives the players a new breath of fresh air. They can go out to their national teams and just recollect themselves, be in different environments. And it's like you're kind of away from your girl, and then you're like, damn, I miss her. You know, like they get away from Bayern for a little bit, playing with their dead national teams. Kane's going to play under Tuchel. And then he's going to be like, damn, I miss freaking Megamind KSI company. I miss him, man. Vincent Limited Liability Company. I miss him. Just let me go back to Bayern. Then they come back with new energy. That's kind of how I like to see it. Plus, it's November. It's not March, where a loss could crush our momentum. So, perfect time to draw, not even lose. Who scored that equalizer at the end there? Because we were losing for a long time. Was it Kane with the header? If I remember correctly. Yeah, it was Kane in the 90th minute. Oh my gosh. Let's get on to the player ratings, because there's a lot to talk about. But before we do that, look, we're pretty close in subscribers. How many views have we gotten in the last... We've gotten 30K views in the last 30 days, which is dang. That is a lot more than usual, huh? And 203 new subscribers. That's amazing. I appreciate you guys very much. So if you could just smash that subscribe button, share the channel. I want to grow this channel, man. We can't just we've been stuck at 12K for a long time. And then when I wasn't uploading for a few months, it was like we were back at like 11.9. So yeah, smash the subscribe button. All right, here we go. Here are player ratings. Wow, I did not change the team. Let's go ahead and do that right now. Konrad Laimer at right back. Jonathan Tah next to Upamecano. Could switch these two. No, let's. Oh my gosh, now it's messed up completely. All right, well, it would just have the center backs in their wrong position, I suppose. Let's get Neuer in here. And Manuel Neuer. Okay, and where's Stanisic? Sorry, I'm doing this in the middle of the video. I just forgot that this thing doesn't save. Oh, that was the lineup, except Kane was at striker, and Gnabry started in that attacking midfield position. Okay, Neuer, obviously not a great look. That was a really bad spillage. There was another moment where, he should have claimed the ball, but he didn't and couldn't for whatever reason. So we'll give Neuer a 3. Let's give him a 3. That was not a great performance from the goalkeeper. He's the captain. Shouldn't be making mistakes like that in a game like that where you're not under that much pressure. But look, it happens. It happens to the best of us. Not everyone's supposed to play well. Laimer, I felt like the whole team's rhythm was just off today. I think they were very excited from that PSG game, and a lot of energy was zapped out of the team. If anything, this should have been an opportunity for Kompany to rotate. I know his thinking was that, hey, it's the international break. The players don't really need to be rested for this game. But I just thought he should have rested some of these players, man, because you could tell these players were, zapped and out of energy, except like Upamecano, because he was defending very well. I'll give Upamecano a 7. Going back to Laimer, though, let's give Laimer a 5. Him and Olise just were not clicking as well as they normally do, whether it was Olise misplacing a pass or just things just not going their way. And a 5 for Laimer now is most players' 7s because he is a world-class fullback. So Jonathan Tah, again, I didn't have a problem with our defense. They weren't really getting outskilled or anything. I just had a problem with the midfield and the attackers. Josip Stanisic, I'll give him a 6. Again, 6 is not a bad score. It's just not like a perfect score. All right, Leon Goretzka. Okay, here's the thing with Goretzka. He's not a good footballer. Okay, I'm going to give him a 2. Not because he played like a 2 out of 10. He did some 1 or 2 things that were fine. Goretzka slows our game down. You can tell. He slows everything down. What I mean by that is when he gets the ball, it takes him an extra second, actually a whole second longer to get it under control than if it was Pavlovic or Tom Bischoff. I think, if anything, the manager should have taken Kimmich and Goretzka off and put in Bischoff and Pavlovic, because those guys would have brought a higher measure of control. Kimmich looked tired as well. Kimmich was tired. But look, Kimmich played way better than Goretzka. I'll give Kimmich a 6. It's just him and Goretzka just don't tick. Kimmich has his limitations. He has a problem defending space. And it seems like this season it's the opposite. Like, he usually had that massive problem where defensively he was a liability in big games. But now it seems like the problem is inverse. On the ball, he's looking a little more sketchy, but defensively, he's covering spaces a little bit better. I think it's just because of the way the manager, presses. Everyone's acting as a unit as opposed to individual pressing. And so we aren't really seeing large gaps like, Kimmich, if we're getting counterattacked, you'll see Jonathan Tah, all the way up there, Upamecano, covering those spaces. So our midfield isn't really as vulnerable as it used to be. Olise, we got to have a conversation about Olise. He lacks that, I don't think he lacks it, but I think something is off with his performances recently. And what I mean by that is Olise is technically gifted. Like, the guy has everything. Footballing IQ is very high. His decision making is great. He knows exactly what he's doing when he's touching that ball. His way to pass is normally very good. So he's a very technically gifted player. But the problem with Olise is I don't know if it's because he just doesn't have it physically, but he lacks that explosiveness when he takes a player on, wins that, situation, and then it's time to just go forward. Against Pacho, you guys saw it. That was like the epitome of that. He got around Pacho, and then like 3 touches later, Pacho came back because Olise didn't explode into the space he created by getting past Pacho. That's something that Lionel Messi has, where if Messi gets past you, because Messi doesn't use pace to get past players. He uses his dribbling and his feints. And then the moment he gets past them, he explodes and accelerates, and gives himself that little space to make a decision. It feels like Olise's playing football at a walking pace all the time. But here's why I don't think that's like a thing. Because he has demonstrated that ability to dribble and carry the ball with a little bit more explosiveness. So I'm not going to say it's a physical limitation. I'm going to say that it's just tiredness. He's a very tired footballer. The guy's been playing every game for like a long time since he joined us. Michael Olise needs a rest, and I don't mean just a game. He needs like competition. That's kind of what I mean. Plus, you can say that I think Kane is dropping too deep sometimes, where I think Kane needs to be, linking up with Olise a little more, like how they were doing in that first season. Well, last season, actually. Well, beginning of this season. Look, Kane, I like that he's dropping deeper, but sometimes in a game like this, it's Union Berlin. They're not like going to press us like a Chelsea or PSG would, where dropping deep makes sense, like it's an element to your game. It should be a rarely used thing where Kane is playing as a freaking midfielder. Company needs to just say, all right, Kane, in a game like that, you need to be battling center backs. I need you to be a traditional 9 because those center backs need to be occupied. Because if you're seen in the midfield, then they're going to have a field day against our fullbacks and our attacking midfielder who end up taking up the space that Kane vacates. So I think Company needs to let the team know that, oh, all right, Harry, or let Kane specifically know that, Harry, it's fine. We love that you're dropping deep. It's part of your game, and it's why we're so fluid. But not every game and not every moment requires you to drop deep. We don't struggle to build out of the back against teams like Union. So I thought Kane dropping deep was just such a poor thing to do constantly in this game. I mean, yeah, every game that's not like a big blockbuster game needs to have Kane, giving center backs worries. And if he's dropping, it should be into the half spaces on either corner. He shouldn't. There shouldn't be too much rotation in position in games like this. Serge Gnabry, I'm going to give him a 5. In fact, no, I'll give him the same score as Olise. Just wasn't the difference maker. Luis Diaz, I'll give him a 7. I thought he was actually our best player. He had more than 1 or 2 good moments. It wasn't just a goal. I mean, he missed a chance, but Diaz does bring a lot of tenacity, indefatigability. I love that tireless attitude. So I thought Luis Diaz, deserved a 7 today. He was probably my man of the match, him or Upamecano. I don't know if I'm remembering the game correctly, but I just remember feeling so safe whenever Upamecano was 1v1 against that black guy. So, yeah, Upamecano did good, and so did Luis Diaz. Harry Kane, he scored the, equalizer and all, but he gets a 6 out of 10 for me. I just don't like the whole dropping out of the back thing. I made it very clear in this video already, right? I think in a game like this, you need to just kind of stick forward. But look, we are going to play like this and have games like this. But what I love about this performance above all else is that we still look dangerous all the time. Okay, who came on? Pavlovic, give him a 6. Actually, the whole bench is going to get a 6. Leonard Carl gets a 6. He didn't really do anything special. He just kind of tried to do more than everyone else was doing, more than Gnabry was doing. But it just didn't tick the same way like it normally would for him. So not something bad. Just again, not one of those kind of performances where we get a lot out of our youngsters. I think that was everyone that came off the bench, if I'm not mistaken. If I am not mistaken, the Bundesliga is such a funny league because Bayern lose and like everyone else loses, or Bayern draw and everyone else draws and loses. Dortmund drew, and so did Leipzig. Leipzig actually lost. And it's like, what is this about? I think Leipzig's new manager sucks. But the reason why I think it matters a lot, what our opponents do, like Leipzig, is they need to push us and we need to push them. When we lose, they need to win because that keeps our players on their toes. But if by December the league looks all but secured, hey, like, what are we supposed to do? Like, why are the players going to come out every week and play intense if they feel like they have it wrapped up? There needs to be an element of competition in this league, but there just isn't enough. So in terms of substitutions, who else did we bring on? Okay, so Stanisic came off. Okay, it was only 3 substitutions. Yeah, we didn't make that many. Okay. Well, we brought on Nicholas Jackson. Okay. Well, I don't care that we brought him on. I would just give him a 5. I just don't. The fact that I don't even remember him coming off the bench is crazy. Company, I'm going to give Company a 6. Not because he set the team up wrong. Nothing's wrong with how we play. Our system is perfect. It's just that I thought he needed to tweak the whole Kane dropping deep thing. And it's a draw. We didn't win, so he's not getting above a 6. And a 6 is still above average, right? All right. Our fans are just not, doing anything. They weren't our away. I guess it's a smaller stadium, so this is kind of, something that German football needs to address. Like, if they just upgraded every stadium, the Leverkusens, the Dortmunds, the Bayerns, the Leipzigs, they have pretty sizable stadiums. So does Frankfurt. But, like, the teams with really good stadiums are relegated. Hertha Berlin, would fill their stadium up, and they're in the 2nd division. Schalke are going to get promoted. Oh my gosh, that's going to be huge, man. I'd love to see Schalke back in the Bundesliga. I hope they have figured out everything, but, their arena was like one of the most iconic stadiums to play at, and they're in the 2nd division. This is kind of the problem with 50+1. While I'm talking about competition in the league, it prevents investors from owning more than 49% of clubs. And what that does is it means, if an investor bought like 49% of a club, or if a company bought 49% of a Bundesliga club, they can't make certain decisions. They can't, like overrule the 51%, which are the fans. So I think what needs to happen is that rule, fans should still have some ownership, like 30%, but we need some investments. Like, a club like Schalke would not have gotten relegated if it was run by a billionaire, because a club like that is too big to fail. Schalke literally has fan clubs, or had fan clubs, in the United States. What does that tell you? They were an international brand. The name Schalke was associated with youth development, good players. Raul played for Schalke. Like, Raul's one of the most known strikers of all time. He played for Schalke. So anyways, yeah. What can we do? What can we do? I gotta go. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you very much for watching. Mia San Mia, and peace.